Welcome to GREYS, your one-stop shop to finding winners across Australia from the world of greyhound racing. Host David Shortte is joined by Hall of Famer Neil Brown, Jason Campbell to look at Queensland and Tasmanian chasing, Sean Matheson looking at South Australian chasing, New South Wales expert Simon Orchard, and the Shane Train Williams rounds it out with his key plays and kennel mail in WA. Now, over to the team for this week's edition of GREYS.
Good morning and welcome along to GREYS on this Thursday, the 29th of May. Where is the year going? Great to have your company. Looking forward to a busy program. The Shane Train Williams will join us. Unfortunately, no Jason Campbell today. He's on the road and wasn't comfortable about the reception he may have, but he has forwarded on his thoughts for a big night of chasing there, Q1 Lakeside tonight, as well as down there in Tassie at Hobart. So Ethan Christian will be coming up the batting order a little bit. We'll chat to him about the card tonight there at Sandown, look at his early quaddy and best bets. And then across to South Australia, Sean Matheson with the latest there, and rounding it out with Simon Orchard. We'll find out how the puppy auction went there last week and also find out all things New South Wales chasing. So a bit of an abbreviated show today, but nonetheless, plenty of winners to be found. A man that no doubt will have a bit of a pep in his step after New South Wales took the lead in the State of Origin overnight. The Shane Train Williams now joins us on the program. Hello, Train.
Yeah, good morning, Shorty. Good morning, listeners. Yeah, it certainly was a dominant display from the Blues last night. Shorty, I was very impressed with all the 17 players that went out on the field last night. I didn't think it was one of the greatest games we've seen. I was just talking to Matty off air about it, but nonetheless, 1-0 up in the series is always a good thing, Shorty.
That is, the Lomax was very impressive.
Yeah, my man Lomax is. Funny story. Quickly, we'll throw one of our fellow Tab Radio boys under the bus, Lockie Taylor. Come and asked me yesterday, and I said, mate, if you want to have one bet, just back Zach Lomax anytime try scorer. He's about $2, $2.20. And then I left the track and my phone went flat, and he messaged me about 10 minutes before the game, and he said, was that coach you said anytime try scorer? So it was too late. The ship had sailed, and Lockie missed out. So, I should have messaged him, but anyway, maybe next time, Lock.
Yeah, well, Train, it's a lesson for you too, great man. They have these things called mobile chargers these days that you can carry around with you. You just plug it into your phone, and you never need to be without... Every
time we go somewhere, Shorty, I'm always borrowing yours.
Yes, you do. And I'm happy with that because I've got the big one that's got about 5,000 charges in one. I never like to run the risk of not having charge on the phone, but they are handy devices and worth having heading forward. But note for Lockie too, just when you get the mail from the train, jot it down or put a little message in your phone. That way you don't miss out on the fill-ups. Never mind. We live and learn. Plenty going on in the world of greyhound racing. Delighted for our great mate Jamie Marsh taking out the WA Derby final there last week with a sizzling early split. Mailata 5:37 early doors put the race to bed early with that excellent early burn. Crossed from box number 7, crossed the face of the field, and that was the last they saw of Mailata.
Yeah, no, it was a really good performance, Shorty. It's always hard to win from the wide draws, as we know, and that race was chock full of a bit of early speed and some quality there, and to do it from wide draw was outstanding. And since he's come back from Melbourne, even though he was defeated in the heat, his run was still good. He was still run 29.67 getting beat. So well done to Jamie, and just got to hope. I don't like our chances, Shorty, but just got to hope there might be a Derby party. But we're still waiting for the Brisbane Cup and the Perth Cup one, so we'll cross our fingers and hope there.
Or maybe we can just arrange a catch-up. I'm sure we'll be able to arrange a little catch-up for a sip at some stage to celebrate. It was an excellent performance and great reward for a lot of hard work that Jamie's put in over a significant period of time. And credit to Jamie and also Ad Smithson and obviously Brett Bravo. But this dog, if we think back to at the start of its career, it was really impressive winning its first couple and then missed the kick a couple of starts in a row. So they put a lot of time and effort into the box manners of this dog and getting it switched on and focused to get out of those lids. And that hard work was really repaid. Running a split like that, 5:37, as you touched on, from a wide draw is testimony to the point that hard work is paid off.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's always scratch your head when you've got a dog that's a good beginner and he showed that his first couple of starts, and then all of a sudden he does some stupid things and you scratch your head and you wonder why, and then you try and fix it, which is what the boys did. So hats off to him. And like I said, congratulations, the WA bred dog out of the former Good Bitch Star book. So I know she's the pride and joy at Jamie's place, so he'd be really wrapped with that win.
Yeah, big time. There's always something a little bit special, and you can speak to that when you've raced a bitch and then you have puppies and they have a litter or two, and that next generation race on. You sort of grow a really strong link to the family and the dogs are associated, and that just makes it that little bit more special.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always get a big kick out of winning a race anywhere, Shorty, but one that you've bred and you've raised and you've sort of owned and trained yourself, you get a real big kick out of it as well. So that special feeling, no doubt. And, Jamie would have felt that on Saturday night for sure. Yeah,
similar to yourself at the moment with Rip and Moses and Iconic Jet, two greyhounds that have been excellent for you over the last 12 months. And I don't think we're too far away from that next litter coming along. How are they all shaping up?
Yeah, they're going to have their first trial on Saturday morning at Mandurah over 300. So they've come home, broke in really well. They look $1 million, and they've just been ticking over at home. We give them a couple of weeks off to settle in, and then they started going nuts and stuff. And so we sort of started galloping in the runs, and they're going really well. So they'll have their first trial on Saturday morning. And just an update on them other two dogs that you mentioned, Shorty. Rip and Moses is now going to be racing in Adelaide. Actually, I sold him over there to Nicole Price, so he'll be doing his future racing over there. It's been a great dog for me and sort of just hit his grade here, up in the top grade. And an Iconic Jet flew on a plane yesterday to Brisbane, so he'll be spending 4 to 6 weeks tackling the big races there. And the main reason is, if you look at our free-for-all rank, Shorty, and the perfect example is Saturday night, just have a look at all the speed in the race. You've got now My Lada, Sunset Hornet and Sunset Capone. There's just a lot of speed, and if he doesn't draw inside, he can't cross them dogs. So we haven't had much luck with the draw, so I just elected to send him there. I think the Q2 is really made for that dog. It's probably similar to Northern. There's tight turning track, and he just rails so well. So he's going to have a trial there Saturday night, I think before the first race, and then possibly race next Saturday night in a Brisbane Cup prelude. So really looking forward to seeing him perform over there.
Who's looking after the dog up there? The Prince, Tommy Zavalis, will he be in charge?
Gemma Daly's going to take control this time. Tom's had a lot of dogs there, and I didn't really want to ask him because he's got a lot of dogs there, and he's also got a lot of other dogs coming. I think Deadly Avengers going there and that. So young Jay stayed at Gemma's place when she went there with Italian Stallion, and just said, the dog would be well looked after there. So she was no hesitation in taking him, and he arrived yesterday, and settled in really well. So we'll just have a couple of quiet days and go around there Saturday night before the first.
Excellent. Well, looking forward to seeing Iconic Jet up there, and we can follow Rip and Moses across there in South Australia. I'd be staggered if he doesn't go incredibly well over there. That slightly easier company over there, dog that's got good early pace. He should really win a pile of races in SA.
Yeah, and I think he will go back in the grades as well. And obviously, I think their grading system works. If you buy a dog and it's owned by a South Australian, they just can go back through all their grades. So he'll have all his grades to win there. And he did try really well at Angle Park when we went over for the Derby. I think he went 30-40 from memory, and he seemed to handle the track really well. We just got to start wrong in the heat of the Derby there. So yeah, he'll no doubt be a good money earner for Nicole and the team over there in Adelaide, and I'll be watching him and cheering him on hard.
Yeah, big time. I think many of us will here in WA. I think there's some bucks to be made. Just pop him in your black book. You'll be notified from Tab Touch every time the dog races, and you can get around as the Rip and Moses heading forward. How was yesterday? I know that you had a day at the races at Pinjarra, then butted up with the State of Origin. You sound remarkably fresh. Was it early to bed? Did you black out early? What happened?
Well, it was a big day, Shorty. The first race was 10:37, I think, and I went to the bar just before that, and I said it's 12 o'clock somewhere to the young lady behind the bar, and I actually come home, watched it after the State of Origin, and I was in bed early, Shorty. I'd hit the brick wall. I think 9 o'clock I was in bed, so got up nice and early today and spoke to the boys, and just finished up the back in the shed, and a few little things to do today, run around and stuff, but feeling quite well. I think the early nights really helped me.
Excellent, and no doubt plenty of excitement. You mentioned that you're off to trial these dogs as a greyhound trainer, and having been involved with some different kennels, having that next generation and the next potential stars come through the kennel when you have a new litter go through, it really does re-energise the whole place.
Oh yeah, well I remember quite clearly when Iconic Jet and Ripper Moses were kicking off. They had a pretty ordinary team at the time, and they showed promise really early, so it was really exciting and something to get you out of bed for. But, like the whole kennel's gone for a bit of a rebuild, to be honest. Shorty, we've moved a lot of our older dogs on and sort of starting fresh with a lot of young ones. So it's exciting times, and hopefully a few of them can put their hand up and go through the grades nicely and then hopefully win a few nice races.
Well, that's the other real upside, is they start from scratch. So if they do end up being above average, you've got a lot of very winnable races early in their career.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the best thing, Shorty. A lot of the dogs here that we had moved on, they'd sort of hit their mark and they sort of can win a race when they drop back to a grade 5 provincial and stuff like that. But, these ones, they've got all their grades to win. You can go through all the grading and even some nice young feature races when they're in their age bracket. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. So we'll know more. I think it might be a bit of a wet day Saturday, but hopefully they can get around there nice and safe and we can get a guide on their ability levels on Saturday.
And just finally, Curious Georgia, she's arrived back home safe and sound over in New South Wales, ready for a little bit more racing and then to be a mum?
Yeah, she I think she's going to be trained up in the central Taree area. I know they've had a lot of rain and water there, but I think the original plan was to try and qualify her for the Thunderbolt at Richmond, but I think the plans have changed now. She might be going to even qualify at Grafton, which is where the heat semis and finals are. She's now trained by John Thomas, who's Daryl Thomas's father, with Michelle Sultana. So she'll aim up at that, and I think after that, she'll go to the breeding barn. Ben's pretty keen to get her in pup, and so her pups will be really valuable pups, and I think he's going to be for sale there. So hopefully we can, maybe even get a couple ourselves. And I noticed, Shorty, Arla Race is going around at Wagga tomorrow in the first round of the Thunderbolt heats at Wagga. So anyone that's tuned in can watch him go around at Wagga tomorrow.
Very nice, yeah, and good luck to Cozzy and the connections with Bella Ace, who's been one of our absolute premier 400-metre dogs for a significant period of time. So watch it going around there in New South Wales over the next little patch. All right, Train, chasing this evening at Mandurah. Do you like a couple?
Yeah, it's a tricky car, but I thought we could find a couple here, Shorty. We race 6, number 4, Sunset Bubbles, who's one we tipped out last week. It's going along quite nicely, and like I said, was a good winner last week in the free-for-all grade from box 3 in 17:11. I think this race, as we know, has a few of the heavy hitters missing. I think Key Moment went around last night, so he won't be there, and I think it's a great opportunity to go back-to-back here for Sunset Bubbles. So Pete Brown team going nicely. Race 6, number 4, Sunset Bubbles to kick us off.
All right, the next of them?
Race 8, number 4, Let Me Cook. This is a very honest little chaser. Has hit the podium 7 of her 9 career starts, Shorty, and a nice race with plenty of chances in this race. I just thought she might be able to get to the front here, and she does possess a good turn of early speed. So, like I said, open race, but keen on the blue here to find the front and get the cash. Race 8, number 4.
Race 8, number 4, Let Me Cook. And the third play tonight there at Mandurah?
Yeah, we'll stick with the Andy McLaren theme, Shorty. Race 11, number 1, Rosetta Street. She hasn't had much luck with the boxes, and she draws the pole tonight. 2 starts back was the last time she drew anywhere near the rails, and she bolted in running 17:10, which is very quick if we go off Sunset Bubbles in that free-for-all, running 17:11 last week. 17:10 sitting up in a 5th grade from box 1. I think she'll be very hard to beat. She is a little bit hit and miss at box rides, so we'd need her best version at the start so she can get to the front and go all the way. Shorty. Race 11, number 1, Rosetta Street, the best bet for me tonight at Mandurah.
All right, let's hope that Rosetta Street can get out of those lids and get rolling. And if that's the case, should be able to run time slick enough to pinch the prize there in race 11 tonight, number 1, Rosetta Street. Anything else from either your team or indeed the weekend of chasing upcoming that you wanted to mention?
It's just going to be a bit of a quiet period for us. We've got a couple in tonight, the same race, and then Saturday I think we're taking 3 of the races. So, we're just ticking it over nicely, Shorty, and a lot of runners up and a lot of placings, but not many wins lately. But the dogs are still running well. Just can find one better the last couple of weeks, like last night. Hippie one to follow, Red Hot Bernie. He got beat last night, but He's got really good early speed, and he's going to lead a lot of times in his races. So hopefully he just strengthens up with a bit of age. But he'd be one to follow with that brilliant early pace he's got, Red Hot Bernie.
Yeah, got good early, and just that last probably 15 metres of the race got swallowed up late there last night. But there are shorter races, and also there's the hope that he might get that bit stronger as well, a little bit deeper into the racing career. But as we know, early burn wins you a whole lot of races. Beautifully done, Train. Appreciate your time as always here on Great Greys. Good luck with your runners over the weekend, and we'll hear from you tomorrow morning, nice and early with the boys on the Sports Daily.
Yeah, all the best, Shorty, and all the best to the punters out there.
There we have it, the Shane Train Williams with us here on a Great Greys, where it's now 17 minutes after 10 o'clock. First race for broadcast here on the program will be race number 2 at Gosford. Matty comes up at 10:30.
And correct weight on the first event, Dibs release, 12 away from that second. 290 Hovland is the favourite with a Tab Touch, and there is a late scratching in the fifth. Number 3 has come out least. It's on Vet's advice, number 3 out of race 5, scratch late.
You're listening to Great Greys on Tab Radio.
Where it's now 17 minutes after 10, time to get across to Victoria and catch up with Ethan Christian for a look at all of the latest in Victorian chasing. And, of course, last Friday night, it was a huge night there at Sandown Park, Sandown Cup final night. And it was the Tasmanian Raiders Guide that proved too good for Lady Wilson and Passmark. EC, welcome to you, mate. Talk us through last Friday night there at Sandown. What was the crowd like? And obviously an excellent win by the Tasmanian Raiders Guide in the feature.
Really nice crowd out on track for the Sandown Cup. And the way it's been recently, we've just got dogs coming from interstate and taking all of our prizes. We had Born Model take out the Sapphire Crown. We had Dashing Sleigh take out the launching pad from South Australia. And now we've got Raiders Guide from Tassie taking out the Sandown Cup. It's hard to have a bit of Vic spirit at the moment because we're just getting pinched one by one. But no, it was a great night last Friday and a very deserved winner for Raiders Guide and the Fays over in Tassie.
Indeed, and it was a wonderful night from you as well, because you went bingo, bango, bongo. The 3 key plays all got the chocolatas and also nailed the quaddie for us. So big thanks for your fine work there last Friday night at Sandown. Plenty of good feedback from our listeners on your great work there. We've got another busy program tonight. Back, though, to just a standard sort of graded program this evening. 12 races. First gets underway 12 minutes past 4 WA time. Take us through your thoughts for the early quaddie, the quaddie, and then your best bets, please.
No worries. So kicking off with the early quaddie, race 1, going to stick with Urana Cobalt on top, who's first up from a spell and should have room to move the empty boxes either side, but just with the fitness query, first up from a spell, I'm going to take 4, 2 and 8 in the first leg of the early quaddie. In race 2, find it to be a terribly even lot. Paul Barton, number 4, goes on top with the ability to lead, but I'm going to take every runner except Paul Quinby, 4, 1, 6 and 2. Going into the third leg, number 5, King Owen, is going to get a wonderful card into this race, courtesy of Paul Fabian, and he's a terribly strong customer. So I think he's going to prove really hard to beat. So I'm going to take a 5-1 out in the third leg. And in race 4, the last leg of the early quaddie, bit of an open affair. Paul Whitley, number 2, is the speed to get across and lead in what looks an even field, but there's a few with chances: White Crest, Poor Imperial, and Luxford, who I think is way over the odds. So going to take 2, 7, 5, and 1 to come home in the early leg, in the last leg of the early quaddie.
Beautiful. 4, 2, 8, 4, 1, 6, 2, 5, and then 2, 7, 1 and 5 in the early quaddie. On to the main quaddie. First leg, a race number 5 this evening. It's the Toongabbie Lodge over the 715 metres. Payback, our $2.10 favourite.
Yeah, he was an impressive winner here early last week, and tonight's assignment looks no harder, so hard to not give him the nod once again. Outsides and Scotch Time will battle it out for the early lead, and this bad boy is showing some staying promise courtesy of a nice win at Geelong last week. So Payback goes on top. We're going to take a few 8, 5, 2 and 7 to kick off the quaddie.
8, 5, 2 and 7 there in the first leg. Second leg tonight, race number 6 on the program at Sandown. The Aston Rupiat start over the 515 metres. Another pretty open race, one that Brownie will be cheering hard for. I'm pretty sure this is one of the dogs he's involved with. Bo Rhapsody draws out there in box 7 with a vacant now in 6 and 8. It's going to get plenty of room. It's the $2.45 favourite.
Yes, and a shout out to Brownie, who owns Bo Rhapsody, and another chaser who I'll touch on in a second. I reckon two of his chases tonight to have really good chances. But Rhapsody is one of them. Cops a significant drop in class, and the small field should allow him to work into things mid-race. He's generally a pretty strong customer, so the clear air will help him. Amron Sammy is having his first look here, but he has early speed and tum ability as well, so he's not without a chance. And Liberty Kelton is far from useless as well, so going to take 7, 2 and 5.
7, 2 and 5 there in the second leg of the main quaddie. On to race number 7. It's the Hooked on Scotch at start. This is over the 595 metres off the inside draw. Poor Yasmin for Mark Delbridge, our $2.30 favourite.
Yeah, and she loves this distance and this draw. It's generally a pretty good combination for her, and she's normally hard to beat off it. So she is clear on top. However, she's not noted for pinging out of the trap. So Upset Sunset could lead. But I don't really see many chances outside of those two. So number 1 and number 5, but a very clear leaning to number 1.
Okay, so red on top, yellow the danger. And then race number 8, this is the Sandown Vet Clinic, free for all over the 515 metres. Lakeview Emily's been taking on some of Australia's best. Over the last few months, she's got a string of silver medals around the neck, goes in $1.32 here, but the other of Brownie's dogs that you touched on, Bagman's come up with the red. It's on the second line of betting there at $3.60.
Yeah, and I've lent his way, number 1, Bagman. He's drawn very favourably in the red rug, and any showing of his best form, which I don't think he's too far from, we'll be seeing him win this race, I think. The 8 Lakeview Emily would usually go on top in this field, as the market suggests, but her run in the Ballarat Cup heat was, I thought, a bit disappointing from where she landed. She landed on the arm, which is notoriously very hard for chasers to get past her, particularly over 450 metres, and she was really soft. So I'm not entirely sure where she's at. So just with that query, I'll put Bagman on top, but I can't leave her out because if she returns to form, she could blow these away. So 1 and 8 to round out the quaddie.
Excellent. So first leg 8, 5, 2, 7. Second leg 7, 2, 5. Third leg 1 and 5. Home with 1 and 8. $48 for a full unit if you're playing at home with that one. Best bets on the card tonight, EC. Who you liking?
Yes, the absolute bests come in race 1, number 4, Urana Cobalt, and race 12, number 6, Bowie Sunny. Urana Cobalt, as I touched on, first up from the spell, but really nice map, I think, for it, and if has any form of fitness, should be able to win, and he's over the odds. And then bookending the card, race 12, number 6, Bowie Sunny, who likes to go towards the rail but has an empty draw to its inside and holds a clear class edge, I think is also over the odds. So looking to bookend the cards with those two, and I like a bit of value in race 4, number 7, Luxford, who I said was way over the odds. So a few plays in there for your Thursday night at Sandown.
I like it. Luxford currently a $17 chance punters, so well worth having a little spec bet there. 17 and 480. It's a pay 1 and 2 only race, but off a last start victory for Steve Toner, and it's worth a bit of a ping tonight for our man Ethan Christian at the double figure odds there. And just quickly too, going off that, it could well be a very, very good night at the office for Dawn Johnston with her runners tonight.
Yeah, look, she's got a couple in, and we've touched on the ones that Brownie owns in the form of Bagman and Bo Rhapsody. But, yes, without really thinking about it, I have tipped her to have quite a nice night because I think Bowie Sunny is a dog on the rise and will definitely be winning his race later on. So she could easily walk away with a double or a treble tonight, and she's a wonderful person. So fingers crossed she can have a nice night out.
Big time. Any runners yourself over the next couple of nights to watch out for at all, EC?
I think Bourbon Bullet might be in at Bendigo tomorrow night. She's got her favourite box 8, but she's a little bit out of her depth. So we might wait for her, not tomorrow night, but her start after that. I'll be trying to get her to drop back in class, and that'll be when you'll be wanting to get on her. And then I've also got Sultan of Swoon, who normally goes around on a Monday at Warrnambool. I'm not sure if he's in next week, but he's always in with a chance in that class. So if you see him on a Monday at Warrnambool, you can have a spec on him as well. Love it.
So Bourbon Bullet and Sultan of Swoon, a couple to follow for us. Pop them into your black book and get around EC. He's generally got pretty good luck as an owner as well as being a gun tipster. Really appreciate your time as always, Ethan. Punters out there tuned in that would like to follow your handiwork. What's the best way to do it?
Yes, if you jump on to X, formerly known as Twitter, and type in Ethan's GREYS or Ethan Christian, I should pop up. I've got all my spreadsheets of rated markets and speed maps for metro meetings at Sandown and the Meadow. So nothing too controversial, just putting up the rated prices and a bit of conversation about whether we can get in at a nice price or not. So, yep, that's where you can find me.
And you would have been pretty happy with the Cats' performance last Thursday. Wasn't that a game of football?
Oh, wasn't it just? I was enjoying myself and taking use of the facilities at a casino in the Gold Coast. So I can't give you a play-by-play rundown of how the game went, but I know that I ended the game in a pretty good mood. So it was a high-scoring affair, and I know we kicked straight. We took our chances. So when that's all you can do in footy.
Flying, young man. You must be flying up there on the Gold Coast at casinos, having a good time. And long may that continue for you. Appreciate your time this morning here on Great Greys. Look forward to our chat next week.
Cheers, Shorty. Chat then.
There we have it. Ethan Christian with us here on Great Greys, where it's now 27 minutes away from 10 o'clock. And, Matty, we're only a few minutes away from the second of the day here at Gosford.
Looking at the tote in the next leg of the quaddie, favourite at $2.70. Lennox number 1 ahead of 5, Akami Star at $3.70. 2 Hovland is at 4. And over 10 grand in that quaddie pool with leg 2 into the favourite fixed. $3 in from 9 as mentioned Hovland. $3.10 from $5.50 Akami Star. $9.50 into $3.20 Lennox and $13 into $7 for Cha 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 with 3 and 4 the 2 scratchings, and they are heading out.
You're listening to Great Greys on Tab Radio.
And it's now time to catch up with Sean Matheson, have a look at the program tonight there at Angle Park, as well as some of the other meetings over the next few days. Welcome to you, Sean. How's everything going over there in SA?
Yeah, terrific. Thanks, David. Yeah, great to be on the show with you again. And, yeah, really looking forward to tonight's meeting in particular. Again, one of our really good nights of racing, the Group 3 Howard Ashton final, named after a wonderful administrator over many, many years, Howard was, locally, and then obviously transitioned into sort of that Agra EO position a number of years back. So a great contributor. So great to have the final named after him tonight. And also we see the heats, David, of Shane McQueen, which we always talk of every year, particularly when we get to the final, but obviously the heats over the 595 named after, again, a wonderful administrator who left us too soon. Perth boy who did great stuff in Perth and then did the same here in SA.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, when I first started out at Greyhounds WA many, many years ago, Shane was in the chair, and he was a really top guy. He was very encouraging, enthusiastic, and you're right, he was lost too soon. But please send our love along to the family for his series and his race named after him. I know that they always come out on track, so please pass on our love and best wishes from all of his friends here in WA.
This is your home of the Greyhound Good Oil, Great Greys.
Where it's now 27 minutes away from 11. We're chatting with Sean Matheson, and time to have a look at tonight's Angle Park program with Sean's best bets. Who are you liking on the card tonight, Sean?
Yeah, I reckon, David, we can hopefully get us off on a winning note in the first race. And I like number 4, Jalapeno Gem for Michelle Moon, around that sort of $3.20 mark. Field of 5, she's got a scratching outside her, vacant box to her inside, so she's going to get plenty of room. The second part of her race is probably the best part of her race, but she can come out okay. So I'm just thinking that she can land, second or third nice and early. She's been a bit of a bridesmaid of late, running placings, but in really strong company. So I feel like tonight she'll just be up on speed, strong at the end, and can get the job done. I think the favourite from the inside draw, hasn't seen the inside draw before and comes to Angle Park for the first time. So I'd just be a bit wary of her. I think Jalapeno Gem can be in front of her and get the job done.
Alrighty, so Jalapeno Gem, race 1, number 4, the first of the plays. The second of your better bets tonight?
The second comes up in race 6, and this is the second heat of the Shane McQueen series over the 595. And I like number 3, Lone Rooster, for the Ben Rawlings kennel here, around, again, the $3.70 quote, but it is quite an open heat. But Lone Rooster's been in really good form as he has stepped up to the 595. His last 4 runs, he's had 2 wins and 2 seconds. A really strong second last week from a wide draw behind Kenya Striker. An inside draw is is a key to him. He came in box 3 2 runs ago. He was able to win in 34.48, and I just feel like he'll be able to get in front of a few of his main challengers who have drawn out, and he should be too strong at the end. So I'm looking for Lone Roost to get the job done for us in the second heat of the Shane McQueen. All
right, and the third play tonight there at Angle Park?
Third will be in the feature final, David, the Group 3 Howard Ashton, which is race 8 on the program. I'm going to stick with number 3, Tara's Lily, for Mark Delbridge, who we put out last week on the show, who was, I think, 5s into around $2.80, $3, and she only just got the money in the semi-final, but the race really panned out well for her last week, where she jumped well, landed just behind the leader Wicket, who went really quick, and she just was a bit too strong at the end. She comes into box 3. I think the 2-dog Lois Einhorn will show good speed and might be able to keep any other speed out wide on the track. And I think Tara's Lily, should get a nice run just in behind the speed. And she is very, very strong at the end. So she's quite around that $5 mark. I think she can get the job done in the final. For Mark Delbridge, who has 2 runners in the series, it's great to have interstate support for this series. And I think they might get the money for the Victorians tonight.
You are tuned into Shorty and the team on Great GREYS.
Well, it's now 18 minutes away from 11 o'clock. Time to talk all things New South Wales Greyhound Racing. They, of course, had their big puppy auction there on Sunday, and wow, weren't there some dogs go for some bulk cash. The Bernardo Good Odds cash litter. Pups sold for $31,000, $30,000 and $37,000, if you do not mind. There must have been some very spirited bidding. Our next special guest will tell us all about it. Welcome to you, Simon Orchard. It looks like it was a very successful auction day there last week. Tell us a little bit about it. How do you do?
Yeah, g'day, Shorty. G'day, listeners. I do great, mate. I do great. The water is receding here in New South Wales, so hopefully we're back to racing pretty soon around some of the tracks that have been waterlogged. But you're right, mate, the auction was a good chance for people to get together and just have a bit of fun, and also hopefully get some new stars of the future. I think we did over $1.12 million, 153 lots were sold, average price tick under $7,500, and you're right, those Good Odds cash pups, obviously a Group 1 winner herself. Bernardo, we know, is one of the top size and has been around the country for a while now. But it's important to note, mate, there was some, scuttlebutt going around on the day that Frank and Tracy were going to train the dogs. That's not the case, not at all. These were pure sales, and they're going to be trained, I believe, by Andy Lord. So there you go, the owner, a first-time owner in the Greyhound game. He arrived on site, he bought all 3 pups, and apparently they're going to go down to the Great Kennels of Clover Park down there at Gunning with Andy. So there you go. Frank and Tracy, pure sellers on the day. They were there. They had a great time. But since, not overly happy with the rhetoric that maybe they brought them back, which is absolutely not the case.
No, and obviously exciting for Andy Lord to have his hands on these pups, and well done to that new owner, splashing just shy of $100,000 on these 3 pups. I see there were some other pretty big prices paid. A Fernando Bale Rashida pup went for $35,000, and a Barsha Bale analysing pup for $21,000. So plenty of people there pulling out the checkbooks and not happy to not shy to splash the money around, looking to get their next champ.
Yeah, you're spot on. It's interesting, the Rashida pup, of course, Rashida was a staying dog up in Queensland for David Brash, who won, I believe, a Queensland national distance title back during the COVID period. Well, her first litter produced Dalwhinnie, who broke the Wenty Park track record, made them cry, of course. Depeche, another good dog. Hoshino was absolutely flying before he got hurt. So the first litter produced some absolute Rolls Royces, and maybe this next pup will do the same. You mentioned the analysing pup out of Barsha Bale. Tommy Shelby had a good day as well, Shorty. There was a pup out of Silver Scissors, who is the mother of Gold Force, who, if you haven't seen the run in Ballarat last Sunday night, go back and have a look. Went within, a length and a half of the track record first look. Has only had about 7 or 8 starts, and now could jump the favourite in the final this weekend. So Silver Scissors Tommy Shelby had some interest there. I think $20,000, the top pup out of that litter. And all in all, mate, yeah, I guess the query with the economy is always, well, are people spending? Are people buying? There's a bit of trepidation around what's happening in the greyhound game. often, but, mate, we saw a big day there Sunday, and the last couple of days, mate, we've had our future Greyhound Summit here in New South Wales as well. So 80 or so industry experts descended on Wenty Park to talk more about the future of the sport. How do we make it more sustainable? What do we need to do in the racing footprint here in New South Wales? What can we do with 10 dog straight track racing? All those conversations were had. There was robust debate. There was almost fisticuffs in Shane Stiff's words a couple of times, mate, with people trying to get their opinion across. But everyone in the room had the future of the sport at heart. So it was a really good couple of days here at Wenty Park.
I think it's always healthy to get the key players in the sport together and talk about what needs to be done for the future of the industry, to be honest with you, Simon. I think we may have different ideas and opinions, but really no opinion's a bad opinion. I think it's great to get it all out on the table and then can be worked through as to what's practical and what's best for the sport. But it is always nice to hear everybody's different thoughts. And the key is we want to have a really healthy future for the sport long term. And everybody's heart is in the right place. That's the good starting point. And then you can work through the logistics and practicalities of it from there.
Well, that's the beauty of an opinion, Shortte. I say this all the time. You cannot be wrong. An opinion cannot be wrong. It can be crazy. It can be ludicrous. It can be deemed good or bad by certain people in the public, but you can't be wrong because it's just you having your thoughts. So, as I mentioned, there was plenty of people in the room, a lot of the movers and shakers, I guess, around, a lot of club representatives, participants, owners, breeders, everything, and we hit some big issues. We've got too many tracks here in New South Wales. That was basically the crux of it. That took up a big chunk of the period. How do we get down to a number which is more sustainable? Which tracks do we need to look at keeping? Which tracks do we need to get up to minimum standards? We've got some consultants coming in who are going to crunch the numbers and tell us what an optimal number is. But as I mentioned, a bunch of topics. Syndication was discussed. We've been talking about this for a couple of years. How do we get more people into the game? Rehoming. We're doing great stuff in that space. We've seen our adoption numbers go up in the last couple of years in particular. The 10-dog straight track racing was polarising when it first was brought up, but the room seemed to be quite receptive to the concept. And, we've seen the Q trial up the straight with 10 dogs in the last week or so, and a lot of people have their thoughts, but fundamentally I think it's something which is going to push ahead. We talked about synthetic surfaces on a straight track. Do we need a turf, like a hockey turf sort of setup? And, Kenny Burnett, who trained Power and Glory, Golden Easter egg winner, has trialled on synthetic turf, and he's a big advocate for it. So if a Golden Easter egg winning trainer can say that we need to get into that space, and maybe it's something that we're going to seriously consider in the next couple of years. So yeah, it was a great couple of days, mate, and a lot of great ideas were thrown up.
Love it, and appreciate your feedback on it as well, and passing that on to our listeners. It's really interesting, and it's heartwarming to know that there's a lot of hard work going into planning for the future of the sport, which is great to see. Plenty of chasing still going on despite the wet weather over there in your neck of the woods. I'll handball across and you can take us through your key plays over the next few days in greyhound racing in New South Wales.
Yeah, let's get it. You can have a multi up the straight this afternoon, Shorty. 8-3 Raging Zeal into 10-4 Audrey's Magic. Raging Zeal in particular, it's raced in non-graded company since February and has been a consistent performer. Wouldn't have been out of place in a straight of origin, maybe on its best form, but goes back to a third, fourth grade this afternoon. So 8-3 Raging Zeal, multi it up with 10-4 Audrey's Magic, who I think can win as well. Tonight at Gosford, 7-7 Can You Not. Price is getting a little skinny now, but Joe McFadden's absolutely airborne, so 7-7 at Gosford. Wenty Park, 3-2 Bianca's Boy, and 7-7 Alakazam. Alakazam has to lead. There's not a lot of depth in the race. Second go over 700, but I think Alakazam's ready for the trip. And then just quickly, mate, the Beefweek Cup tomorrow at Casino. Integrity Shirl, I think, deserves to be favourite. And Chief Havoc Cups and Broken Hill Cup final on Sunday. If I had to give you one bet for Sunday, it's the Broken Hill Cup final, race 7, number 2, Honey Zen. A lot of ground covered, but Honey Zen, former daily dog, early pace, first look in the heats for a month and first look at the track. I think it's going to be much improved. So there you go, something for the punters over the next couple of days.
Love it. Beautifully done, as always, Simon. Really appreciate your time here on TAB Radio. All the best for a big weekend of chasing upcoming, and look forward to our chat next week.
Cheers, mate. Hooroo.
You're listening to Great Greys on TAB Radio.
We're 7 minutes away from 11. We'll round out the show just passing on to you Jason Campbell's thoughts for tonight. Big program there at the Q1 up in Queensland tonight. Good luck to West on Booney as well, going around up there this evening. The better plays for Jace, race 1, number 8, Boomtown. In the first there, it's his value play for tonight, $5.50 and $1.70. So it looks a good chance there in the first, race 1, number 8, Boomtown. And the best of them comes up in race 7, number 8, Mapunga Reward for Jeff Britton. It goes around as a $2.10 chance there tonight, race 7, number 8, Mapunga Reward, taking on the likes of Vincent Bale and Zephyr. It's a good heat of the Cindy's Magic there. And then down in Hobart tonight, race 1, number 4, Windburn Tommy, and race 7, number 7, Pocket Talk. He says 1 for the multis there at the shorter odds. So Queensland, Q1 Lakeside, 1-8 Boomtown value on an each-way basis, race 7, number 8, Mapunga Reward. Then down in Hobart, race 1, number 4, Windburn Tommy, and race 7, number 7, Pocket Talk. And that brings to a close Great Greys on this Thursday morning, the 29th of May 2025. I'll be back catching up with Digby and Tim tomorrow morning from around about 6:40, going through all the latest from Tab Touch. We'll have chasing winners between 9 and 10 with Peter O'Neill, Jesse Earnshaw and yours truly, and of course all the jet set tips we'll put together and pop that there along with the weekend tipsters if you're looking for a helping hand, all on the Tab Touch blog site over the next couple of days. And all the tips from today will also get up there to the Tab Touch blog site, as well as our social media platforms later on this afternoon. That's us done for today. Big thanks as always to Maddie McDermott, who's done a fine job helping to piece the show together. Maddie, to your good self, and everyone tuned in, wishing you many winners for the remainder of your Thursday.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.